Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today's video is A is for automation. So what is automation? Why is it important? How to do it? And what it's all about. What's cool about automation is that this is why the computer becomes the more powerful way of making music compared to other ways of making music. Who is going to hate me in the comments because I said that? I don't know. But basically, the DAW allows you to go into super detail, and so you can make your sounds do exactly what you want them to do if you automate the sounds. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to learn about automation in our beginner's guide. A is for automation. So when you open up your DAW, and today we will use Ableton like we always do, you're going to be presented with a blank screen. We can do a million things, but we're going to start from the beginning. So what I want you to do is grab a plugin, doesn't have to be the one I use, and bring it into your MIDI channel. I'm today using this one here, and I'm really going to grab some random sound. It doesn't matter what it is. I'll double click here to make a little box, and then I'll scroll down so it's more of a bass sound, and let me put down some notes randomly and in a way that is completely, it is what it is. I don't care. So I have a very basically bass sequence. Let's see if you can hear this a little bit better. Okay, now that's like, again, super boring. This is kind of where we get started with sometimes. And so what you might want to do is already, okay, use the piano roll as a form of automation. I mean, basically automating is also deciding what notes are going to be played. So for example, if you want a note that's in a different note, that's also a form of automation, right? But that is basically the most basic form of it. But what we're really talking about here is, what if I want the machine to do something while the notes are being played? So for example, if the notes are playing and I double click and I get my machine up, okay, and I look at it, I can see that there's a bunch of different things I can do. This is a copy of that back there, okay? I'm doing this for the ease of use scenario. But for example, the sound here, okay, has the ADSR. That's the envelope of the sound, how the sound starts, how long it lasts, how long it fades away. So if I wanted the sound to maybe start fast but then fade away long, I would keep this down, but this would come up a little bit. But let's hear what that sounds like first. So why might that be something I might want to do? Well, let's lay down, for example, I'll record for a second, and you'll see the mixer part of it. Once you have it in the mixer part, okay, so now that you brought it into here, and let's lengthen it to maybe like a fairly long amount of time. In the time now that I hit record, whatever I do here will affect the sound here. But you see how the movements that I did have been recorded, but you're not seeing them? For you to see them, you have to press A, because A is for automation. Okay, so once you press A and you see the movement, you can see that, and you can also see that it relates to the ADSR, the envelope that I was talking about, and in this case specifically the release, the amount of time that the sound stays for as it's tailing away. Why that might be important is because you can combine multiple forms of automation. So let's go through one step of making a sort of sweep. I'll start this at the bottom. And so thus you create a sort of drop, right? So we're going up into a crescendo and down into a drop. Another typical thing that you might want to mess with is the cutoff frequency. Maybe you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do multiple things at the same time as I do this recording. Okay, so there we've recorded a kind of more complex pass. This is giving you an idea of what you can do with the machine. But what if you wanted to now add more to this? So you can get rid of this for a moment, and let's pull up some kind of random, I'll pull up a reverb, if I can find it. So let's randomly pull up a reverb and add it to that, okay? And when you pull up this reverb, again, you'll see that there's some fairly simple buttons on it. All these buttons can also be affected by automation. So if I take this mix down, okay, and I take the delay up, and I bring this all the way back to the beginning, bring the starter to the beginning, press record, as we go through the sweep, what happened though as a result of adding the reverb is that the sound went down, right? The volume went down. So again, sometimes if that's the case, you might need to add another instrument on top, and in this case you would probably put like a compressor on it. And so you can see you can make a very complex sound out of something that started off really simple. So that's kind of the reason why automation is super cool. Now, there are ways you can automate things together, so multiple tracks. Let's see if I have something open that we can just pick at for inspiration. I'm just going to randomly grab something here for a second. So I'll literally just grab any old file, and let's see. I don't even know what any of these are really, Perl, whatever. And let's see if there's anything here that I can automate to show you how that works. Let's see what this sounds like. Okay, fine. What are they doing? Let's solo them. Bass, like a key. Okay, so you got a kick, you have like a brighter bass, a deeper bass, and some kind of organ piano kind of sound. Okay, fine. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to let the kick come in right at the beginning. Let's say it comes in halfway. That's easy enough to automate. And let's say the deep bass also comes in maybe second, right? And then these two things start together, but they don't end at the same time. Maybe that one ends like that, and maybe, or that, and then maybe this one ends like this. Okay, so again, we can automate all this stuff. Now if we play the song, the idea, maybe taking too long to bring that forward. Okay, so you can understand how that happened. I was making the example, but I think it was taking too long. So basically, to prove what I'm trying to say, I'll make it a little bit shorter so that it's not so tedious to listen to. All right. Fine, but then it's kind of boring, right? Because it's still just doing the same thing. So what can I do? Well, remember we can also affect effects. So if I take something like, let's say, an auto filter, and I slap it against this sound here, what I can do is I can automate that. So let's do that, okay? Let's bring this down so it doesn't start right away high. Press record. Okay, fine. Again, I'm not worried about if the song is like doing anything really special right now. I'm giving you a tutorial, okay? So then the second one of these that comes in are those keys. But you know what? They kind of don't come in the right way that way. So let's bring it back to the beginning, but let's do something similar where we'll put an auto filter on that. And oh, you know what I have on here already? I have a tape emulator. So let's lift that a little bit just so it already makes it sound a little bit crazier. And let's see what that sounds like on the sound. see how it kind of waves a little bit? Let's automate that. Let's make it a little bit less that you can tell that that's happening, so it's not so obvious, but it's still cool. So let's bring this down a little. Let's bring this down a little. We can go like this. Okay, so that's another style of automation too. Fine, totally cool. I'm good with that. And then I like that this bass comes in big here, but let's maybe cut it off as it starts to grow down. So we can put an auto filter on here, go like this, let it be big at first, but then as it comes in again, okay, and so that's another way that you can automate that. So we basically have figured out how you can automate multiple things together so that you can create an arrangement. So anyway, guys, this was a way that you can get used to getting started with automation. I won't take it further than this because it's a beginner's guide. There's very complex things you can do with automation. But the point is that if you get started with this, then that's going to give you a way that you can get into the computer in a deeper way and make your music more complicated. Well, not really more complicated, but more expressive of what you want it to do, and not only what the machines are kind of randomly doing themselves. So that's kind of the reason why you would want to do this in the first place. I hope that was helpful, and looking forward to seeing you guys soon, and thank you.